Afternoon, kay we're going to continue our bowling game Kata. The bowling game Kata was first made by Uncle Bob, Robert Martin, and we're replicating the same thing that he did. We ended last week. Well, what we did last week was do a few tests. We did a test for gutter game, done, for all ones, and we ended here at one spare. The problem that we came across in one spare was that the if statement that we made here, we discovered that it did not actually check for the spare. Sakto? We made another test to catch that error in our code. Pwede na bitaw binisaya? Nang binisaya naman to sa last time. So, we made a test, this ridiculously named test, 1551, which we simulate a roll nga 1 and then a 5 and then a 5 to show that the if statement that we made here at our bowling game, it would catch this case even if it should not. Okay na? Alright, so we ended last meeting saying that we should refactor our score instead of going through the rolls one at a time. We should go through them per frame. Remember? So one frame each. So what we needed to do was refactor this function score. But before that, we needed to remove all our failing test cases. That's why we place an ignore to our 1551. Yes? Okay, let's start the afternoon with a green bar for positive reinforcement. There you are. Yellow siya diha sa inyong projector. So let's go back to our score. What we want to do is change score so that instead of checking per roll, instead of calculating the score per roll, it would calculate the score per frame. So what we want to do is, instead of having I, let us do int frame equals 0 as frame is less than how many frames are there in a bowling game? 10. Let's just place 10 for now. Frame plus plus. Sakto? Okay. And then now we still have our I. This is confusing. Do you want to take away this if statement first so we have less to refactor? Or do you want to keep going? Tangtangon sa natong if else back para dito maglibog. Do you want to do that? If I insist. How else do you propose? Sige, it's confusing, but for me, it's not very straightforward. Alright, so let's just take it away. We can put it back in later. Okay, so per frame, unya ang score niya kay plus equals rolls I plus, ano ba? Rolls, but we don't have I yet, no? Let's define I plus 1. Is that it? Is that correct? And then we would have to increment I once, twice, plus 2. Sakto? Let's define I here. Let's rename I later. It looks ugly now, but let's rename I later. Try running. Yes, does that look right to us? So instead of incrementing per roll, can nag-increment per frame. Does that make sense? Okay, let's take away our spare test also so that we can get a green bar. Okay, very good. That works. So we refactored correctly. Are we on the right track? Yes? So let's put back our code for our spare. You want to do that? Let's make our spare test pass first. I mean, let's make our spare test fail first. There you are. And then, let us put the logic that we think should be correct to catch the spare. So let's say if, what's the logic now? Rolls sub I plus rolls sub I plus 1 equals 10, right? Is that it? Then we want to add 10 to score plus rolls sub I plus 2. Sakto? Is that correct? And then let us call this else this. That correct? Roll, that's our spare. Let's put a comment there so we won't forget. Ah. We should also I plus equals to this. I plus equals to. Let's just keep it like that way. Let's refactor later. Red-green refactor, Carl, remember. Red-green refactor, always follow red-green refactor. The point is to get it running first and then to make it pretty later. Get it? If we're always thinking of making pretty, we'd get less than. I don't know, I think. Okay. Pass! Yay! Late reaction. Okay, let's do the next test. Will this work now? Ah, refactor the refactor. Okay, fine. We want to refactor this. Let's take this away. And let's place this there. Yes? Oh, sige, yes. Very good. Let's change this. Let's change I. Sige. Makes sense. How do we rename this? No. Naiway nga mag-rename. Refactor. Rename. Shift F6. Let's try that. Shift F6. Aha. What should we name this to? First, unsa ganito? First ball in frame. Ano to, di ba, something? What did Uncle Bob name it? We don't like that, right? Let's just say first in frame. How about that? That's okay. First in frame. Just like Uncle Bob. Okay, that's good. So let us change that. Kanisha, let us extract this into its own method. Let's call this if is spare. That sound good? And then let's change this let's change this roles let's call this next ball for spare. Yeah? So 10 plus next ball for spare. That's better. Chong is okay with it, so I think it's okay. If Chong is okay with it. So we took that away. Do we want to change this also? Let's do it while we're at it. Let's just go the whole shebang na lang. Let's call this what? Score for frame something. Yeah, what you think? Score for frame. So, wala reactions si Chong, so I don't know if it's right or not. Has detected 1 code fragments when replaced. Oh, that's fine. You can do that. Oh, so that's nice. That turned out nice, oh. So it said, ang spare nato says, if a score for frame equals 10. Oh. That turned out better than we expected, huh? Okay. Better, is there anything else? Do we want to refactor anything else? Let's run our tests. Let's refactor our tests. Okay, let's do that. Let's see. We don't want this. We don't want this because it's an ugly comment. Let's change that. Let's call this roll spare. Okay. Yes. No, I don't want to do that. Katong 155 na to, that I think it's confusing if we do that. Game roll. I don't want you please to, how do I undo? There. Okay. Let's take the comment away. Okay. Yes? Let's move this up. Whoops. Excuse me. Unsay kanitong para mo move up? Dili na. Mag-practice daw sa pag move up. Move up. Ha? Pero wala lang i-highlight ang move. Lagi move up. Let's just edit this part out, ha? Go to, nalagi pang move up. Asa man to? Full. No, that's not it. Magsalig yun ko nga, mag-edit na taon niya. No. There. I think that was it, no? Move up siya ba? Do you see? The function is higher now. It's command shift up. Different siguro for Windows nga keyboard. Sorry, Chang. There you are. Okay. So good, refactored our test. We're happy now. Let us run our test again. Still green, very good. Now let's do that test if we solve the problem. Let's run this. Ay, salamat. Pakpak! So, done with spare. We're happy with our spare. Thing. Okay. So, what's the next thing that we can do? We've rolled zeros, ones, spare. Let's do a strike. All strike. One strike lang siguro, Carl. It's easier. Test. One strike. Did we call our spare one spare also? There, yes. Okay. So what we want to do is roll a 10 and then roll 2 balls after so we can count them and add them to the strike score. Yes? Let's say game.roll, say 3, and then game.roll 5. And then we can roll many. Make sense? How many more do we have to roll? 17. Pila ka frames na lang nabilin? Ang isa ka roll is 1 How many frames are left? 8 frames, sakto? So 16 rolls, 16 gutters. So strike ang first. Sakto? And then we'll say assert equals. What is the score? 8 plus 10, 18 plus 8 again. Sakto? 26. 26 is game dot score. We need to place an ugly comment. Try. Thanks, Todd. Run our tests. We should get a red. Very good. Now let us try to solve that. Let's say is strike, but let's do that later. We'll say if 10 equals the first ball, first in frame. Sakto? If rolls sub first in frame equals 10. Oh, that's turning out well, our name. And then we can say score plus equals 10 plus rolls sub first in frame plus 1. Sakto, the next roll plus rolls sub first in frame plus 2. Sakto? So what we're doing is we're adding 10 plus 3 plus 5. These are successive rolls. What should we do with first in frame, Todd? Ah, that's right. It should not be first in frame. We should, so it could be that we shouldn't have placed first in frame outside in the first place. We should keep it inside. Plus plus. Right? Let us place this here and here. Make sense? Because the next frame is now just one roll away instead of 2. Claro? Nod your heads if it's clear. Let's run our test. Yay, green. Now we can refactor. Let's change this. Is strike. And then let's change this. Next, 2 balls for strike. Oh, that looks very neat. Yes? Okay, let's refactor our tests. We don't want this. Let's call this roll strike. And then we can now remove, we can now remove this. Run our tests again. All passes, good job. Let's move this up so that it can be, just so that it can be more neat. Cunning can roll. We don't need this anymore, no? Let's take this away. Deleting tests. Okay, run everything. Okay, excellent. Okay, so we've done one spare strike. What else can we do to test it? Let's do the perfect game. We know how the perfect game works. Perfect game is when it's all strikes. Perfect game. And a perfect game is when you... Saan man nato? Roll, strike, roll many. How many strikes? 12 ba? 10 plus 2 bonus. Because if you roll a strike in the 10th frame, that means you have an extra ball, but if you do a strike again, then there's a final ball extra. Sakto, so 12 rolls, hitting 10 each. And then we will say assert equals, how many points is a perfect game? Perfect game is 300 game dot score. Let's run the test. Fail ni dapat. Oy! Array index out of bounds. Haha. Did something wrong. Where did it fail? Score for frame.
Frame plus 1, sir.
Frame plus 1 is outside. Where should we be? What should it be? Backfire. What should it be? Sa'yo pang 21. Sakto man ang 21. Score per frame. Ikabot niya sa 10th frame. Unsa man? So mag-if na punta? Ew. First frame. Ano man si Uncle Bob? Nasakto man na iya. Ah, that's right. Excellent. Thanks, Chong. There you are. That should be else if. That's right. Thank God for tests. Kuan kayo? Hard sell kayo. Yay! So we have a test to check gutter game, all ones, one spare, an extra test for our spare, and then a strike, and then the perfect game. And now our bowling game is complete. Round of applause! Yay! Time to stop.